Tanks are living heritages, and they are one of the oldest man-made ecosystems. Built ingeniously by our ancestors several centuries ago with their native wisdom and with the support of native rulers and philanthropists, tanks function as lifeline of livelihoods of millions of farmers all over the Deccan Plateau in southern peninsular India. Tank is not simply an irrigation system. It provides space for trees and herbs, fishery, and act as grazing land for livestock. The nutrient-rich silt deposited in the tank beds is used to enrich soils. Tanks supply drinking water for people and livestock, where the groundwater is saline and unfit for drinking. They also fulfill domestic needs like washing and bathing and recharge groundwater. Unlike larger irrigation systems, which are supply-driven and controlled by the government, the tank system stands testimony to the decentralized demand management system, which were maintained and protected by the local communities for centuries. Depending on the quantity of rainfall and water stored in the tanks, farmers have been cultivating their lands. The water stored in the tanks, when used conjunctively with the groundwater, can result in more stable cropping intensity and increased economic water productivity. The traditional water managers appointed by the villagers assisted them for smooth sharing of water, planning for crop and area of cultivation. Scanty rainfall causing prolonged dry spell or abundant rainfall resulting in flash floods are the adverse effects of climate change in Gundar and Vaipar basins in South India. In addition to withstanding the effects of climatic aberrations, tanks absorb the ill effects of climate change as drought mitigators and flood moderators. Tanks are hydrologically efficient in all the ecosystems. In the hills and mountains, tanks act as drainage points in a watershed, which can efficiently harvest the runoff and conserve the eroded soil. In the forests and wetlands, tanks support diverse fauna and flora. In the arid and semi-arid regions, tanks provide life-saving irrigation to crops grown under rain-fed conditions. Also, the tanks recharge the groundwater aquifers from where the farmers can draw water to use it conjunctively with the water available in the tanks. In the flood-prone plains, tanks constructed sequentially act as flood regulator by the surplus water of an upper tank feeding a lower one. In the coastal regions, tanks reduce the impact of seawater intrusion by recharging the underground aquifers. In the urban areas, tanks, though still survive even after encroachment for residential purpose, act as recharge points and floodwater drains. Tank system is more efficient when compared to the larger irrigation systems. One cossack of water flows services 30 acres from Kalingarayan Canal and 60 acres from Lower Bhavani Canal, the big irrigation projects in Tamil Nadu, whereas the same quantity of water from tanks in Madurai services 120 acres and the tanks in Ramanathapuram services 200 acres. Tank irrigation systems are simple but fragile structures with high relevance for climate change adaptation. Dhan Foundation, which has been working for more than 2 decades for rehabilitating the tank system by organizing the farmers, took up a long-term restoration drive in Gundar Basin a drought-prone and the driest river basins in Tamil Nadu with 2,276 tanks. With the support of Hindustan Unilever Foundation during 2010 and 2014, Dhan Foundation undertook renovation of 255 rain-fed tanks in the Gundar Basin. The project has benefited 17,696 farm families, augmented water storage to the tune of 42.56 million cubic meter, serving 6,866 hectares of command area. Drawing lessons from this project and continued partnership from Hindustan Unilever Foundation, Dhan is taking up renovation of 450 more rain-fed irrigation tanks in the Gundar and Vaipar river basins in Tamil Nadu, securing water for 17,243 hectares of lands from January 2015 for 4 years to benefit 18,000 families. Long-term and intensive treatment of all the water bodies in a river basin will restore the ecosystem besides making water as public good. The water partnership between Hindustan Unilever Foundation and Dhan Foundation is an effort towards this mission.